Hello everybody, Andy here again, sitting up on the top of Windover Hill just above the Long Man of Wilmington here on the South Downs, and tackling a subject that I've been meaning to talk about for quite some time, and luckily I didn't, because something happened recently which sort of sparked it again. The way that we influence people in life. In real life, how often have you ever been told that you've actually influenced or inspired somebody? Probably not very often, and I don't think that happens a great deal in real life. Unfortunately, the only time that you would ever find out how you're really felt about by other people would be at your own funeral, and obviously you're not in a great position to listen. Having been to a few funerals recently, unfortunately, you hear some great stories and great things about people, and you think, oh, wouldn't it be great if that person was actually there to hear how they had inspired somebody or influenced someone or made somebody else's life a better life or a better place in some sort of small way, and how we touch other people. But in real life, that just doesn't happen. That has never, I can think of one example that I heard of through a third party, was somebody that I trained at work who actually made a complimentary comment about me to somebody else, and somebody actually passed it on to me. And that was great. But I don't think that happens very often. But here, on YouTube especially, I mean possibly elsewhere on the internet as well, but I've had that happen to me several times. I've received messages either in comments on videos from people who said that my videos have inspired them. It might just be a simple thing, because if you think about it, if you get a comment from somebody, especially a video response or a private message or something like that, you've inspired that person to do that. So that might only be a small way, but we're all doing it in some way. We're sparking something. After all, you go onto a video, you don't have to put a comment. Yes, I know that a lot of people just do it to say, I've been there and I've watched this video, Andy, but a lot of comments are more than that, that they actually listen to the video, they start a conversation, and so you've inspired someone, you've influenced someone to do it that way. But what I'm talking about really is something a bit deeper than that. Some time ago I had a couple of sort of private message conversations with a guy who was trying to learn the English, not the English language, but pronunciation. He was actually an actor in Boston. I can't remember the guy's name, I think his name's Dave. He was doing a play, or coming up to doing a play in Boston, and he was using my videos to actually help him with the English language, or the pronunciations of certain words, that sort of accent, and etc. I can't remember what the play was that he was doing, and I found that quite amazing, that someone on the other side of the Atlantic, sort of 3,000 miles away, was using my videos for that type of thing. And I've had other comments along the same ways, that certain things that I've spoken about have inspired people, or whatever it might be. I say, whether it be in comments, private messages, etc, etc. But I had something the other day from a guy called Danny. If I'm I've got a few notes down here. A guy called Danny up there. He's in England, but he's a 19-year-old kid up in north of England, and he sent me a couple of messages. I won't go into them, but they were amazing, and they really inspired me as well. Because you get to that point, and I've made a couple of videos recently where you think, why do I do this? Why do I make videos? I did a video called Crisis of Faith about this type of thing. Yes, I will continue to do it because I like doing it, but you do sometimes get those elements of doubt creep into, and then you get a message like that, or some of the others that I've had, how you've actually influenced someone. And what Danny was saying was that by watching some of my videos, especially the ones possibly out here in the countryside where I'm talking about my world or something, and he talked about the sort of passion that I put into him, because that's what I feel, that's what I'm like in certain topics, and that had inspired him and helped him with a college project that he was doing for a qualification at college. And he went and did some research, like I've done for videos that I've made, about an aspect of his local community, which was great, and how that had inspired other places, and how it had gone on to Australia, I seem to remember. And he did that and made a PowerPoint presentation and put it towards his college qualification. And I thought that was absolutely amazing. I mentioned this to my wife, and we sort of had a brief conversation, etc. And I find that amazing. And to have felt that you've done something like that, that you've touched somebody else, in that sort of way really validates what you do here. And I think that's, even from my wife's perspective, I actually sent an email to a few of my sort of close friends on here, mentioning that particular email that I'd had from Danny, and saying, you know, this is why I make videos, you know. And one of them has actually said he's going to post a response to this. So Ken, you've got to post a response to this, because he said he has his own story. And that's the point. I think a lot of us do it. We don't realise how we influence, how we touch people in real life, and we probably don't realise how we do it here. And it wouldn't it be great if we actually told people that? I'm as guilty of that as other people. When you think about your parents, etc., we get influenced by our parents, obviously, in one, or inspired by them, and we get inspired by musicians and artists and writers and that type of thing. People that we can't usually get to, if you see what I mean. We can't tell them, or the message won't get through to them unless we're lucky enough to meet them in person. But here we can do that via various mediums: comments, private messages, video responses, or even private videos or something like that, if you really want to do that. So that's great, and I'd love to know if anybody else has had this, because I'm sure you have in some way or another. If you've had those messages, those comments, those videos, or whatever, emails or something from somebody who said that something you said has sparked something in me. It sparked an interest, it sparked a debate at home. I've had that recently. People, you know, you put up a video, and someone says, ah, what a great topic or something. You know, we've been talking about this at home. You've influenced that person in that way. So I'm not bigging myself up in this respect, because I think that we've all done it, but we've all influenced people, but we just don't necessarily realise it. And sometimes it takes a message like Danny's or Dave's a couple of years ago to make us actually realise that we do influence. We do it in our real life without even thinking about it. I can think about loads of examples where I've been influenced unconsciously, possibly, by people that I've worked with, people that I know in real life, and then you notice that you're doing something. It might even be the most mundane task, but you're doing it in a slightly different way because you've learnt by somebody else. Someone else has influenced you, has changed the way that you do something in your life. As I said, that happens a lot, but if it's in a more profound way, that's when it really hits home. As I said, we do it all the time without realising, but when we get those messages, it makes you feel good. And I'd like to thank Danny for that message, because that inspired me as well. Those messages, it's a bouncing thing, isn't it? It sort of keeps going, and it's ever increasing circles or something. You know, that your influence gets out there, and someone inspires you to make this video. Danny's comment has inspired me to make this video. Hopefully this video will inspire you to make your own videos about your own experiences. So there you go. We all influence people. We're all under the influence of other people, whether we know it or not. Maybe just give it a little bit of thought, and next time you realise that and you think, yeah, that person's actually changed me, let them know. Because isn't that great to know that? Because enough makes you feel good. So thanks for your time. I shall speak to you again soon. Goodbye.